Oh, hi there, Gemini. Welcome to Carol's Universe, Tarot Readings from the Heart. Thanks ever so much for joining me on your reading. So we're going to be doing the 15th through to the 31st of May 2020, and we're doing, I just need to get a book here because I'm doing a particular spread for you guys today. Yeah, we're doing the 15th to the 31st of May. We're going to do a 7-card spread, if I can find where it is. It's one of the spreads that I use for personal clients that do kind of weekly and monthlies with me and stuff like that. So I usually call this the week ahead spread. As I say, this is usually for personal clients that have week aheads and things. But I've decided, because I'm doing a 2-weekly reading, to kind of adapt it to that. So using the This Might Hurt Tarot, you guys probably know me very well for using this by now, those who consistently watch me. Yeah, I love this deck. It's one of my favourites. So we're using this one, and also we're going to use for your spiritual advice for the week, for the next 2 weeks, the Psychic Tower of the Heart by John Holland. So we look at the week as a whole, something unexpected that might arise, how to stay grounded and balanced, an important emotion that you'll feel over the next couple of weeks, something that will inspire you, and also advice from Spirit, and also finally we look at how to best support yourself over the next couple of weeks. Okay, let's get started with shuffling. Okay then, Gemini, so we've got your cards down. I'm just going to pull everything up a little bit here if we can, so we've got a nice sort of more intimate look at the cards. So we're going to have a look at the next 2 weeks as a whole, and kind of what the universe sees around you then, what it's about. But 2 cards actually came out together. We had the Chariot and the Nine of Coins. You know, it feels really good to me, these 2 cards, or it feels like you guys are actually achieving something here. The Chariot is overcoming an obstacle. Okay, so it's overcoming obstacles and arriving at victory. And the one thing that I really love about the Chariot is that it kind of, for me, indicates that somebody may have been on, you know, a bit of a roller coaster. They may have been on a journey that required them to be, you know, motivated and determined and focused and forward thinking. But it's also a card that represents the need to be strong and the need to have willpower and inner strength. You know, it's not the strength card, but it is a card that represents the need to have a great deal of determination to achieve a goal. And with the Chariot, it's all about a card that represents being split in 2 directions. So sometimes we can get split. The Chariot, this lady has got she's on motorcycles, but usually you see horses and that type of thing, and usually it's about something, somebody being torn in 2 directions but needing to keep on the straight and narrow to get to where they want to go. So really it's a decision card as well. So I think that some of you guys, it may be Gemini, you've been torn in a couple of directions and you've kind of been pondering, and this may have been going on maybe for quite some time. You may have been pondering and thinking, you know, what direction do I go in? Do I go this way or do I go that way? What would be the best thing for me to do? But I actually feel that some of you guys have remained on your path, and I think that it's going to start paying off with that 9 of Coins, because this could be a financial thing. And I think that for some of you guys, I mean, you could read this in 2 ways, really, that combination. You could say that if the 9 of Coins represents financial gain, so this is a card about prosperity and financial gain, you're making more money with the 9 of Coins energy, then some of you guys, it looks to me like you've finally overcome some obstacles, you're finally charging ahead, you're finally getting back in charge, getting back ahead with that Chariot. You're finally getting a little bit of control here, because the Chariot is all about control. So you're finally getting control back, probably of your lives. And some of you guys, it might be a financial thing, it might be something to do with finances, it may be you're finally getting on top of something to do with the home. You know, the 9 of Coins is the home, it's an apartment, it's where you live. So you may be getting on top of your, you know, your home. Maybe some of you guys are self-employed. Maybe you're finally getting on top of work and business and that type of thing. And some of you guys, the focus might be about moving away from the home. So doing something outside of that. Now, it's a tricky time. We all know what's going on in the world at the moment. So, you know, for some people that's tricky, but some of you guys may be moving away from the 9 of Coins, because the 9 of Coins, another thing that we can look at and see with the 9 of Coins is that it also means to be in the gilded cage. So this can be a place of a safe place. There are certain cards that represent safe place, the place that you feel most at home, that you feel most comfortable, and those are cards like 9 of Pentacles and the 2 of Wands. They can represent people who distance themselves from. The Hermit is another one, outside world, that type of thing. So some of you guys, it may be that you're moving away from a safe place as well, a place of safety. Maybe you're thinking about doing something new. Let's have a look at what something unexpected that might arise in the next couple of weeks for Gemini. Well, something to do with work. Something also to do with recognition and praise, because the Three of Coins is a card that also, it depends on how you want to read the Three of Coins. The Three of Coins could be, for some of you guys, especially if maybe you've not had any work, or you know, maybe you've lost your job. It may be that a new job is coming into view, because this is work. So something that unexpected may arise, may be work, you know, might be a job. The other thing to say that might arise over the next kind of couple of weeks that you're not expecting, it may be recognition as well, recognition of your skills and your talents, because the Three of Pentacles deals with the concept of being, you know, a highly skilled individual. When you're the Three of Coins energy, you have a lot of experience, you've got a lot of expertise. So it may be that somebody is recognizing you for your skills, your expertise. Some of you guys, if you run your own business, you might be getting some really good reviews with that Three of Coins energy. People are taking notice of your talents and your abilities and that type of thing with the Three of Coins energy. The other thing to think about, it may be that there's the creation of, you know, more work, or there's a project coming in to view maybe in the next couple of weeks that you're not expecting with the Three of Coins energy showing here. Also, it could be the expansion, growth of money, finances, because remember, Pentacles are money, and when you get threes, they're expansion and growth. So it may be what you don't expect to arise over the next couple of weeks could be that money is increasing for some of you guys with the Three of Coins. There's more money. You're making more money with the Three of Coins energy. More money is coming to you because we're seeing growth and expansion of finances. An important... So how to stay grounded. How do you stay grounded and balanced, Gemini, over the next couple of weeks? Just by doing your work, by being creative, I think, more than anything with this Queen of Wands energy. Because the Queen of Wands is all about creativity. Okay, that's what the card is about. It's about being proactive, and it's about keeping yourself busy. So for some of you guys, in order to keep grounded and balanced, there's no time to sit back with this Queen. She doesn't sit back. She's always really busy, really proactive. Some of you guys keeping grounded and balanced would be probably exercise with the Queen of Wands energy. For some of you guys, it may be working on a creative project with the Queen of Wands energy showing here. For some of you guys, it may be your work keeps you grounded and keeps you balanced over the next kind of couple of weeks. But whatever it is for you, Gemini, the Queen of Wands is always, she's not the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups is more than likely going to want to put her feet in a nice pool, or, you know, in the water, and think about life and reminisce and kind of, you know, reflect on stuff. And she's highly spiritual. She's a really spiritual woman as well. Actually, the Queen of Wands is a tarot reader in the tarot. Okay, so she's somebody who's deeply, deeply spiritual. But I think I'm just going to tap into her more energetic energy here. And I think that in one way, yes, definitely, one way to keep grounded and balanced, Gemini, will be to tap into your spiritual gifts. Okay, it will be to tap into your intuition as well. And it will be, if you're a particularly spiritual person, if you're a clairvoyant or you do tarot or something, maybe you want to read more books, or maybe you want to do a bit more learning or something like that. But also, I think to keep grounded and balanced, you may want to look at doing things like yoga, for example, with the Queen of Wands, or, you know, upping your fitness regime if that's something that keeps you grounded and balanced with the Queen of Wands, or indulging in something creative, painting or writing, or even maybe you want to play your guitar, or if you play an instrument, think about doing that, because the Queen of Wands likes to play instruments. Remember, the Queen of Wands is also an actress. So she's an actress and she's a singer, and she's all about the fame and the stardom. So keeping grounded, whatever it is that makes you feel good, I think is the message of this Queen of Wands in terms of keeping you grounded and balanced over the next kind of couple of weeks. What's an important emotion that you'll feel this week, Gemini, over the next couple of weeks? The Hangman, which is a nice emotion to feel. I think that an important emotion that you'll feel is a sense of calm and a sense of, I think there's a couple of things. I think number one, for some of you guys, there's going to be some form of an awakening, an epiphany, some form of enlightenment. I think also an important emotion to feel is being kind of lifted away, or being kind of suspended, which is what he is, outside of reality, because he's ruled by Neptune, the planet of fantasy and illusion and spiritual enlightenment, all of that type of thing. So, you know, for the many things that some of you guys are doing, especially if they're work related, and I don't really see, if I'm being honest with you, Gemini, a really chaotic 2 weeks here. I see a really good reading actually for Gemini. I see the potential for more money coming in, the overcoming of problems and money coming to you. So if you've been having a difficult time financially, I think the next 2 weeks looks pretty good. I'm seeing some of you guys probably coming out of the gilded cage. This could be the isolation that we've been going through, you know, the lockdown situation with the 9 of coins. 9 of coins in lockdown is not a bad lockdown to have. You've got all your creature comforts and that. But slowly but surely over the next 2 weeks, some of you guys may be travelling outside of that 9 of coins, so outside of your homes, that type of thing. And we have actually had the British government say, you know, you can travel wherever you want to now. You can go with your family, you know, you can go to, you know, beaches and things like that. So, you know, if you've been spending, obviously we've all been spending times in our homes quite a bit, and some of you guys, it may be the next 2 weeks is traveling outside of that with that chariot. You're moving away from the comfort here, and you're getting quite active here. And, you know, it may be that, you know, an important emotion for you to feel is just a sense of kind of calmness and a sense of, you know, for me the Hangman is not a card about groundedness. It's more a card about kind of being uplifted or being transcended into another kind of sphere. So I feel that an important emotion for some of you guys to feel, not that you even really need to even feel it, to be perfectly honest with you, because the energies on this reading feel so light to me. There's nothing really chaotic, and there's nothing, when you're a tarot reader, you feel the energy of those cards. So if you see a lot of chaos, you feel that energy, you know it's really, really kind of deep and it's really heavy. There's nothing deep and heavy in these cards at all. They're really, really lovely cards actually. And I just feel that an important emotion for you guys to feel, one of those emotions I definitely feel with the Hangman energy, is really getting back in touch with source and with your spirit. Okay, just away from the everyday daily grind and being able to kind of just relax and probably even meditate. I think another really important emotion to feel with the Hangman is just an emotion of letting go and just suspending everything. So with the Hangman, it's all about letting go and letting God and just surrendering to what is. And I think that for some of you guys, over the next 2 weeks, you're just going to come to a point where you're just kind of like, I'm not worried about anything. I'm just going to let go, and I'm not going to allow anything to make me feel, you know, anxious or nervous or worried or anything like that. I'm just going to let go, let God, and I'm just going to surrender to what is. I'm just going to surrender to what is and accept what is to come. What does your spirit, what will inspire you over the next couple of weeks? Your friendships, 3 of Cups. Friendships, celebration, people who are close to you with the 3 of Cups energy, joy, happiness, you know, and it depends on, you know, we're going through a really, really crazy time in the world right now, and I think a lot of us are kind of reminiscing back to, it just shows how much we kind of took for granted, you know, and now a lot of us are kind of looking and saying, geez, even when all of this craziness is over, the world probably isn't going to be the same, because, you know, we've got this added thing to consider, you know, as to, well, where is it, you know, are we okay now? Are we okay to kind of speak to, you know, to go up to someone, or to, you know, it's all of those things, you know, distancing ourselves. It's a really, really weird thing, you know, things like going to pubs and bars and restaurants. How does that all work? How is it going to work? It's just a minefield of information, and it, you know, see, I'm starting to get a little bit like, at first I was really calm and felt really at ease with the reading, and now I'm like, what's going on? I'm just starting getting this kind of crazy energy that I'm feeling. But I think that what will inspire you are just people that you care about, because the 3 of Cups is family members, whether that's your close friends or whether that's your family, your blood family, or your married partner or your children. It's just people that make you feel good. It's just people that make you feel good. It's just the people around you. It's your closest buddies. It's the people that make you laugh. It's the people that make you happy. That's what inspires you. And I think that probably is going to inspire you to do this in the area that we look at, which says, you know, an important emotion. It's people that make you happy that will just inspire you just to let go and just to surrender everything and not to worry about it. Life's too short. Some people say, life is long, don't worry, nobody come for me on that, because some people are like, what do you mean life is short? Life is long. Of course it's long, but, you know, in terms of when we're looking reality-wise at stuff, you just got to make the most of every day, and that's what I think that these cards are saying. If you know, in terms of the emotional part, the important emotion that you feel. Well, the hangman, when the hangman in terms of an emotion is just to feel nothing. In a way, it's just to feel nothing. It's to just not let anything affect you at all. It's just to be able just to let go and say, I surrender. I'm not going to get too, too charged up about the situation. I'm just going to surrender everything. I'm just going to trust. And actually, the important emotion with the hangman is about trust. The hangman and the fool are very similar cards when we look at the word trust, because they are just letting go, and they're not kind of looking left, they're not looking right, they're just hanging there. They're just like, you know what, just going to do whatever I'm going to do, and I'm not going to worry about it. Whatever happens, happens, but I'm just going to surrender. Both cards are a card about surrendering to trust. So an important emotion, if we rift off that, is probably going to be trust, because I think that the thing that will inspire you are the people around you, whether it's friends, family, or the joyful faces that you see around you. I think that will inspire you just to kind of let go, surrender, and trust in basically whatever your process or the process is. And what is the advice from Spirit? The Hermit. Take some time out for yourself. The same thing with the Hermit card. Hermit and Hangman again. These cards, Hermit, Hangman, Fool, they're all very similar in terms of just the process of disengagement from the physical and from the influential, as it were, because they're cards that disengage from anything that can hinder you, harm you mentally, emotionally, physically. They're just cards that, I don't know about the Fool can be pretty stupid sometimes, but in terms of kind of just trusting in the process and what is, these cards do that, because they're not allowing themselves to engage in, life, as it were. And when I say life, I mean in terms of, the everyday practicalities, not just the everyday, of course, we've all got to do the everyday practicalities. What I'm trying to say is things like news, things like, things that may have an effect on you, as it were, for example. These are cards that deal with the idea of just withdrawing and spending time inside, with yourself, basically. These are cards about gaining some very powerful insights, especially the Hermit and the Hangman, into who you are, all right? And the only person that can really do that with these cards is you. This is not about paying attention to the noise, to the outside noise, to what's going on around you, to what people are saying, to what the newspapers are saying, to what the media is saying. It's just about spending time with you. So I feel that the advice is really just to spend time with this Hermit. Spirit is advising you just to spend time with you, to spend time seeking the answers within you and what you need to find. You can spend time reading with the Hermit energy. You can spend time, investigating the things that you need to investigate within you. Even if you want to read the news, you can do that with the Hermit energy. But really, the Hermit is all about being selective and what you want to do. So this isn't about kind of going home, sitting in the, your living room, turning on the TV and just letting the news bombard you. This is about saying, okay, I'm going to turn on my computer and I'm going to type something into whatever search engine I'm using, and I'm going to source the information for myself. So really, it's just about gaining some powerful insights and taking that time just to disengage from the world and to focus on the, nourishing yourself and the things that you need to kind of know about, especially if it comes to, because I think that these two cards are probably indicating that Gemini is going through a time of spiritual growth. And whenever we're going through a time of spiritual growth, we're needing to disengage from the world. If we don't disengage from the world, often I find that the world can really kind of influence us and take us off that track, which is something you probably don't want to do at this time. And finally, how best to support yourself over the next couple of weeks. Judgment. I just think that you need to be really discerning in terms of the information that you take on board. And I think it's saying it with these cards, especially the Hangman, the Hermit, and the Judgment. They're all major arcanas as well. So this is something that is very important for your own spiritual growth. I think that because remember, the Judgment card is all about weighing up things. So you can see on this, it's funny because this deck is a ride based on the Rider-Waite, but what I find is that this card here, especially this Judgment card, I'm sure that this is very much a Thoth You could, sorry, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure that this is very much, because usually on the judgment card you see an angel and bodies rising. It's not like that. We've got the bodies rising, but we've got, I think this is Anubis. I think the story is about Anubis, and Anubis, I think, was a god that when people died, they went through a doorway. I don't know whether if you guys have ever seen Gods of America or American Gods or something. I'm sure there's a story like this in that show, but I think that what happened is that whenever somebody, when you die, apparently this particular myth or mythology, whatever it is, when you die, apparently you go through this door, and I think it's Anubis, and I can't remember what the other gods are. I just don't remember. I was reading about it a few weeks ago. I thought it was really, because I wanted to see what this was on the card, and apparently this is a very much kind of like a Thoth depiction of judgment, and not necessarily a Rider-Waite depiction of judgment. And so when you die, you go through a door, and I think it's Anubis. It's Anubis or another god. They weigh, this heart here is your heart, right? So if you're dead, that's your heart there. And the feather is the feather of Anubis. Correct me if I'm wrong, or it could be another god. And what happens is the god weighs your heart against the feather. Now, if your heart weighs the same as the feather, you're fine. You can go on to everlasting life. If your heart, though, weighs more than the feather, then your sins are probably quite great. That's how they assess how many sins you've done. So what happens is if the heart, we can see here the heart outweighs the feather. So it means that if it outweighs the feather, your sins are probably great, and you're going into the lake of fire. So your soul is being thrown into the lake of fire, and you're going to burn forevermore. Something like that. So what I'm trying to say here with the judgment, I think that the best way that you can really support yourself is just by being very discerning in terms of the information that you take, because it's your own judgment to make. In a way, it's your own judgment. So you have to be very discerning in terms of, the decisions that you make, because judgment is all about making very big and kind of, is it infinite or finite? I think it's finite decisions. I think you have to make I think you have to be very discerning, and when I say discerning, I think that you have to be extraordinarily mindful in terms of the decisions that you're making over the next couple of weeks. And those decisions can be anything in terms of the information that you allow to infiltrate your home, to infiltrate your life, because you are going through, I think, a spiritual awakening, some form of spiritual rejuvenation. I think Gemini may be going through, and as I've said, whenever you're going through this process of this spiritual kind of growth, a time of growth spiritually and emotionally and mentally and all of those things, I think that you've got to be really careful in terms of, as I've said, what you allow in your life and what you don't, because we are only human, and we can allow I've certainly been there myself. Whenever I know that I'm going through a time where I'm changing, where my mind is changing, where my spirit is changing, where my connection to different things is changing, it only takes certain bits of information to set me back. Because for me, going through a time of spiritual growth means suspending oneself from the reality of what is happening in life. And that's what the Hangman is. If you get the Hangman and the Devil, you're basically suspending, you're alleviating yourself, you're rising above the physical things that basically drag you down. So the Devil card would be a card about, the physical world and the things that we are very attached to in the physical world. But the Hangman is all about detaching oneself from that through spiritual enlightenment. Okay, so it's more about rising and elevating yourself far more with spirit, rather than kind of, pairing up with the physical things that you like to do. For example, drugs, sex, clothing, cars, that type of thing. Doesn't matter to the Hangman, because he's on a completely different course. And of course, the Hermit, the advice from your guides is basically saying to you, spend some time with yourself, detach from the physical. Okay, and attach more to the mental, to the spiritual. This is time for you to seek enlightenment, but you can only do that really if you support yourself through discernment and through making decisions based on, how you can improve yourself. For example, what you watch on television, for example, Gemini, will be important. What you allow, as I said, to infiltrate your home, you don't want to be, you're on this new, I think that some of you guys are on this new trajectory. This is such a beautiful reading. It's lovely cards, and the cards are very, very soft, and they're gentle, and it just feels like I can see somebody who's going through a natural change. They're going on a new path. I just feel a new path for Gemini, but it could be at any point that you are set back through the things that you allow to enter your life. So just be very careful in terms of what you allow to enter your life, whether that be media, whether that be on the radio, whether that be on YouTube, wherever it is, whether that be people. You have to be really discerning in terms of what you let come through and what you don't, because it's about kind of keeping things at a level that you're at. I think that you're changing bodies. And I think that this is a time for not allowing yourself to be stuck in the old, because I think that you're actually really focusing on the new. Let's get the spiritual advice through the Psychic Tarot of the Heart by John Holland. So it's telling you to listen. That one throughout, that's the High Priestess card there. So the advice is you need to listen, okay, Gemini. So the next 2 weeks is a time for listening with that card there. Listen and open up. All right, I think this may be the Four of Wands. I'm not sure what the purple cards are. I think that's purple or maroon or something like that. Yeah, no, sorry, that's the Four of Pentacles. Sorry. But this Four of Pentacles tells you that you need to open up. So I think that you've got to open up to listening, okay? Because the Four of Coins usually is the card about somebody who is very detached and very closed off. They tend to put their barriers and walls up with the pentacles. But I think that here it's telling you to allow yourself to listen, okay? Listen to God, listen to Source, listen to what your intuition is telling you, okay? Allow yourself to be receptive to those things, okay? And most of all for me, just listen to stuff that's going to encourage you and that's going to inspire you, rather than stuff that's going to kind of push you back, okay? Because I think that some of you guys are on a new journey, but it's very easy to get pushed back if you allow kind of things to come in and muddy the waters for you. So it's about just trying to keep it a little bit purer over the next couple of weeks. All right, that is your reading, my darlings. I'd like to say thanks ever so much for joining me on Carol's Universe. If you'd like your own personal reading, you can click on the link in the comment section or go to the end screen. Okay, that's it. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.